Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, welcome, and thank you for watching. My name is Ellen and in this video I'm going to be doing my July wrap-up. In the month of July, I read 8 books, which is actually a lot for me because I have a 1-year-old daughter and she keeps me really busy, but with the help of audiobooks, I managed to do it. I think most of the books that I read this month were through audiobooks. I think maybe half of them were audiobooks, so they helped me a lot. And I only own one of the books that I read. I borrow a lot from the library. I don't typically purchase a lot of books, so I will just kind of have like a picture going on the screen for the books that I don't own, which is most of them. So without further ado, let's get started on the list. The first book that I read this month was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I sadly gave this only like 2 stars because it just wasn't my cup of tea, to be honest with you. I never really read a lot of books by authors that like to write about famous people, so I realized that wasn't exactly my cup of tea. I didn't really like following the family. I should probably start with what it's about. You're just following the Riva family. You're following Nina and her 3 siblings. You also get the past where you follow their parents. And I did not like following the parents very much. Their dad is kind of a jerk and selfish, and I didn't like hearing about a lot of his scandals and stuff. I don't really like reading books about celebrity scandals or things like that. That's something that I learned about myself, so this is very much a personal reading taste. I just didn't really love it. I liked the sibling dynamic. I like how they went into like jealousy and hurts from the past and sacrifices that had to be made for the family. But other than that, it wasn't my cup of tea. So 2 stars for this one. Then I read The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I actually have a reading vlog for The Maidens and Malibu Rising, so I'll link it down below so you can watch it if you haven't already. I gave this one 3 stars in the end. The main reason I had to knock off pretty much 2 stars was because I guessed what was happening in like the first 50 pages. And you're going through, you're trying to figure out what's going on, but I ended up guessing the big twist. So that's why it couldn't be like a 5-star read for me. But I love this guy's writing. This book is about Mariana and how her niece goes to Columbia University, I think. And she calls Mariana and lets her know, hey, I think my best friend just died. And so Mariana goes to Columbia, and she used to go to that school with her husband who has passed away. And she finally goes back there. She kind of felt like she was never going to go back to this school, but she does for her niece. And she is trying to uncover like what happened to her niece's friend. And then there's more murders after that. So you're trying to figure out what's going on. And Mariana is pretty certain it's this Greek tragedy professor who is the killer. And it kind of goes from there. This is a really good book. I really like the writing style. I really like how this author does some short chapters, so it's just easy to fly through because you're not having to go through like 30-page chapters or anything. But it was a little bit disappointing that I kind of figured out what was happening and who it was and all that. So that's why I kind of have to give it a lower ranking. The next book that I read was Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. I gave this book 5 stars. I have a full book review for this book, so I will also link it down below. But my gosh, this book was really good. This book is pretty much about this lady who's 36 years old. She works at a convenience store, and she has since she was a university student. And it's just about how much she loves the convenience store. She feels like a part of the store, and that's where she feels the most normal. She kind of has some more unorthodox thinking, and she doesn't feel like she quite fits into society. And Tokyo in general is very crowded, and they can be kind of harsh on women who are unmarried with no children, especially if you're in your 30s and your time is running out, so to speak. And I really liked how she's trying to navigate all the people around her, trying to tell her what to do, like, aren't you happy? I don't think you're happy. And her figuring out her place in society and whether or not she's going to go with her own heart or if she's going to try to mold herself into Japanese society. I really love this message that the book was sending, and this lady really knows how to write a good book, so I am hoping to read more of her stuff later. So yeah, this book gets 5 stars from me. Then I'm going to lump these two together because they're by the same author and part of the same series. I read Hope Harbor and Sea Rose Lane by Irene Hannon. And oh my goodness, I also talked about these books in another video. They're part of my grandparents' recommendations. I'll also link it down below. But these were really unexpected loves for me. These books are really wholesome, and they really go into like the deep wounds that us humans tend to have, whether from childhood or adulthood, through relationships or failed relationships. And she's so great at making connections between 2 unlikely people, and sometimes 3 or 4. You usually get another point of view from someone that lives in the town of Hope Harbor. And I just love how she ties everyone together, and it is just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just such a good, she is just such a good storyteller, and she makes the people feel so real. I don't want to go too much into it. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, please check out the video down below. But Hope Harbor and Sea Rose Lane were really great, and I'm hoping to read the 3rd book this month in August. Then I also listened to 3 audiobooks after this. 2 of them are by the same author. And I read My Darling Duke and Her Wicked Marquess by Stacy Reed through audiobook. I got these book ideas from Amanda from the Naughty Librarian, so I will link her channel down below. She's really into romance, historical romance, all kinds of romance, and also fantasy. She is a great channel to watch. She always makes me laugh. So when she was raving about this series, I knew I had to check them out. My library had them through audiobook, and so I checked them out. And oh my goodness, like these are really good. Like My Darling Duke is about this man who is a duke, and you just kind of hear rumors that he was in some kind of accident, and he's been out of the London society for like 7 or 8 years. No one's seen or heard from him. And then you get this lady who is really desperate. Her name is Kitty Danvers. She has 3 younger sisters, and she is desperate to try to find them good connections because their father has passed away. They have no brothers, and she is in society for like 3 or 4 years now. No one shows any interest in her, so she's desperate. So through this society gossip columns, there was someone who claimed that the Duke is betrothed to somebody. And with this Duke being gone for 7 or 8 years, there's always some kind of rumor circulating about him. And so finally, Kitty Danvers decides to come forward and just say, I'm the fiance of this guy. And everyone believes her, and she gets into more well-known connections. She gets a house, and her main purpose for doing this was just to use his title, because if she is seen to be associated with the Duke, then she can hopefully find some marriage offers for her younger sisters. And she knows that she herself will be ruined once the ruse is up, but she doesn't care. She just cares about her family. I just loved Kitty. She is so strong and sweet and kind. She cares so much about her family, and I loved her as a main character. And the Duke himself is just so tortured because while he accepts his physical condition, it's really hard for him to believe that anyone would really care about him for who he is and the things that he went through. So there's really good like disability representation in this one, and it's just overall great. Her Wicked Marquess is a similar, except there is a revenge story plot, and the guy, he is a Marquess, of course, and he is out for revenge for his childhood friend and his first love. Hello guys, this is Editing Ellen here. I am so dumb, and I realized that I didn't really explain Her Wicked Marquess very well, so here's my thoughts on it. So I think when I was trying to explain, I just totally blanked on her name, and I totally blanked on the plot. So here we go. Her Wicked Marquess is following Marianne Fitzwilliams, and Marianne Fitzwilliams is wanting to start living her own life. Just like her friend Kitty Danvers from the first book, they have several friends in their circle who have been out in society for several years. They're called the sinful wallflowers. They're just not really the top pickings for being a wife. And so they're trying to take matters into their own hands. So Marianne Fitzwilliams saw what Kitty did in the first book. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to start doing the same thing. So there's another rumor that said this Marquess was sneaking out of the window of some lady's room at a party. And Marianne's like, yeah, that was my window. Guess what? She's trying to get out of a marriage to a guy that's like twice her age. Her parents are trying to arrange this marriage for her. The guy is awful. He's twice her age, which that is not why he's awful, but it's another reason why she's not exactly keen on him. And so she's trying to start a scandal. So that guy doesn't want to marry her anymore. So she's trying to use the Marquess to get that guy off her back and to try to use him for her own purpose, for getting rid of him. And he has reasons of his own, the Marquess, for following along with this plan. So that is the basic premise. You kind of find out more about the Marquess's backstory and his quest for revenge and how Marianne can kind of help him with that a little bit. So overall, it's a good story. Now back to the original video. It is also great. Like, please just check them out if you're at all interested in historical romance. They're fun to listen to, and I just really enjoyed them. They're really great to pass the time while I was cooking or cleaning. And then the last book I read this month was The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. This one also gets 5 stars, and I just really love this one. I guess I have a thing for tortured dukes because I have a thing for almost like a Beauty and the Beast type of retelling. Like the guy has some kind of scars or injuries, and then he's trying to learn to trust the woman like she actually likes him for who he is. I guess I like that trope. So I also love The Duchess Deal. It reminded me a lot of My Darling Duke. And you follow the Duke of Rothbury, I think, and then Emma Gladstone. And she is a seamstress. She was a pastor's daughter, but her father kicked her out for reasons explained in the book. And she's now a seamstress, and the Duke just needs a wife. He needs anybody. He just wants to make an heir because otherwise his cousin will take over, and his cousin's awful, and he doesn't want that to happen. So he just wants a marriage of convenience. Once he finds a wife and she gets pregnant, then he'll just send her to the countryside and they don't need to talk to each other again. But of course, love prevails, and it's just such a sweet story. So I'm definitely getting more into historical romance, and I will probably add more of them to my August reading plans. So that is it for my July wrap up. Have you guys read any of these books? Are you intrigued by any of these books? And just let me know what you guys are going to be reading in August and what you have read in July. I would love to hear about it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, bye.